I was ready.
I am so out of it. Lee Sin global banned, by the way. Well, we're just not going to see him. We do have Renekton and Senna and Rumble taken away. Rumble definitely the biggest ban that we see nowadays, especially on the red side.
As we are, again, trending towards Corki Tristana, it's one more patch cycle. They are on the chopping block for the next patch. Hopefully that will be enough. I don't think that this time around it's going to be a thing, as the respect ban towards the Renekton I really appreciate from T1 here. The Lord will still be given his due respect. Tristana, in my opinion, definitely the standout between the two picks. So I imagine that's what T1 wants to go toward. Also doesn't really lock you into anything specifically, and we'll see what Pool Bay is going to bring out here. Was most known for his aggressive playstyle in Challengers. Obviously had a really strong top side to go with him, and there is yeah, that shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah,
is it just
I
Corki?
mean, it's not a surprise, and I guess the idea is that, okay, if we give them Tristana, we play Corki. As you're mentioning, Chronicler, but at the same time, it does feel like over the last bunch of weeks, Tristana has come out ahead most of the time, right? It just feels like in terms of overall impact on the map, not just talking about laning phase generally pretty even. What she's able to do, especially pushing side lanes and how she scales, is just kind of insane.
Ezreal making its way through here as well for Envy. Envy still starting. We did see some experiments with Samver early on, but he has been the mainstay for a good amount of time now. We'll see what is going to be the setup here. Imagine that T1 don't feel too pressured to pick up an AD carry for Guma here. They can, obviously, but he plays a whole lot of champions. One of the saving graces of this patch is that Skarner has in fact been... He's been hit. He's been hit pretty hard, which I think is great. The unfortunate thing is that Cassandra is still there, so now he's just riding alone in top lane, outside of the Rumble, which obviously has already been taken away.
Yeah, I think that Cassante, because of that, is in a really awesome spot, as we are going to be seeing the Zyra in the jungle here for YoungJay. Now, Owner has picked Nidalee into Zyra multiple times, did it at EWC as well. I think that it's got a good matchup. You can put on a lot of pressure in the jungle, not allow the Zyra to go kind of insane with her farm speed, and it just feels like kind of a very controlling jungle pick, especially when you're facing that Zyra. So, you know, I get that they want that AP jungler, one of the top ones, but I think that Owner could have a fun time in this jungle matchup.
It does work well with the draft that Brianna has, where you can lean into more of a poke style, and it makes it hard for the enemies to engage due to the Zyra existing. That is a poke style as Brion, I think, is unfortunately not something that I think right now they're going to be capable of pulling off consistently. Would love to just see a tank top laner, right? Just pick something beefy up. I think Poppy is a great example. You could obviously still theoretically flex this towards Paulo, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Poppy is a consistent frontline, as we do see the Caitlyn Braum come back again. Was something that the Caitlyn for Guma should not be a surprise, and the Braum, as already mentioned in pre-show, has really risen in priority with how insanely prevalent these engage reports have been. I'm wondering if they just want to go for Karma here, which, when it comes to the execution, is a bit rough, but it should provide you a good amount of shove. It goes well together with the Ezreal, because my problem with this is that it just doesn't feel like playing an engage report into something like the Braum Caitlyn is really going to go very well.
Yeah.
Unless you find like a really, really solid early all-in, but I just don't think realistically that's something that you can consistently hit. And the Karma, I think, would have tied the composition nicely together. Obviously, your engage would be really subpar, but I think for Brion, what they saw is we need something simple. Engage reports fit into that bill. I'm worried, though. I think this is a draft that is very hard to execute, and I think T1 got basically everything that they'd want, realistically, outside of having Engage, which is T1. They're just gonna find a way to start fights nonetheless, and they have the Nidalee for poke as well.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting nowadays, just with all of the AD carries and kind of frontliners that don't provide Engage, but provide a lot of defense for your kind of squishy core. it does feel like we are seeing a little bit less engage in some of these drafts week by week. So, yeah, you know, the Cassante as well can kind of just, you know, put himself in there, force fights by being very annoying and getting on top of people. And we do have a lot of Bro fans still in the audience cheering for the potential of, you know, King Morgan to come in here, Lord Morgan, to get a win, an upset win up against T1. But in this first draft, we're definitely liking T1's angle to start off this series. As OK Savings Bank Breon, see the Ezreal, see the Corki, a lot of top picks. We'll see if it's enough to get them across the line. Let's hop into the rift for game number 1.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we go. Oh, well, that's a spear to get us started. And we'll see how this does continue. Polbay just going to back out of here.
Envy actually getting a good chunk here early on against Guma. We'll see what Youngjae's pathing is going to be. Also do note that Polbay was able to just get it back in, so nothing too much of note happening here. With Brom, you can always go for delayed invades. His level 1 is one of the best in the game with his passive, but doesn't look like that's actually going to be the case. Youngjae, unfortunately, one of the plants spawning near the turret. And not ideal. I don't think it'll matter that much. I've seen Zyra just power farm and clear in like 3 minutes something nonetheless. We will have Morgan taking a peek here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what he's going to be able to do outside of a little bit of harass. And Italy doesn't really care too much about that. And Youngjae, as you mentioned, not really too concerned about the plants spawning in the wrong place, because eventually he just is able to place them himself, and he will farm extremely fast. It doesn't really matter. As Zyra, the only person to win on Zyra in the LCK so far is Canyon. And Zyra's still a really good pick. I don't want people to see that and be like, hey, I guess that means that only Canyon can play it. Canyon is exceptional as a jungler, and Genji are a great team, but Zyra's still a very strong pick. As, by the way, Guma has only lost 1 game on Caitlyn.
Shouldn't come as a big surprise if you have seen T1 play before. Guma is Caitlyn. It doesn't get pulled out too often, but whenever it does feel like it really hits the spot. Trying to maintain that, you know, Death Jinx win rate of like a year or 2 ago, it did really take a big beating at some point.
Polbay?
Polbay is, yeah, just gonna flash, and obviously the player really struggling, but it also again beckons the question.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just walked back into auto range.
Yeah, I have no idea why he did that.
So
and so the walking in is obviously very egregious, but it also beckons again the question: did we really have to give Tristana over again?
No, that shouldn't have happened.
I don't
honestly.
think we should have.
Although giving Ashe to T1 is really scary as well. I think the other ban that had to be the Tristana ban was the Sejuani.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because Owner can play a lot of stuff. He can play Nidalee. He is going to do a lot of Nidalee playing in the bottom lane, I think, here in this game. Especially based on the path that Youngjae has taken towards the top side of the map. We already see a little bit of pressure, but he's not going to overcommit. So here we go again. Polbay going to lose the trade in a huge way. And the thing about Polbay is that he's a great player, but I think he really struggles with nerves. And here in this first game, I think we're seeing a little bit of that already. I remember I was actually doing the Challengers co-stream for Bro, and he had like this huge pop-off performance in 2 games actually, and he went into the interview and he was just so nervous. He didn't really say much, right? But we know he's exceptional as a player. So I do wonder if some of those nerve issues can affect some of his gameplay, especially up against a guy like Faker.
I think it's obvious, right? Like, I think the initial trade and the flash is fine. Walking back in, that's something that that shouldn't happen. Youngjae, this is the the core issue, I think, as to why we see so many Zyra struggle. Is like once you start falling behind.
Youngjae's going to take a huge amount of damage. He steps on a trap, so the extended range for the Nidalee goes in, and Owner and Faker just bullying Youngjae in between turrets.
Might be able to do something here.
Well, Paulo's going to miss his stun, and now he's in a lot of trouble. The Ignite comes down, and they get pushed away as Keria is able to push past the turret himself. And already this game is off the rails, Chronicler.
Yeah, T1 with a lead is not a very fun and interactive experience to play into. Unfortunately, it's 1.5K at 5 minutes. Veldas, this wave is going to get lost. Well, Youngjae isn't really going to be allowed to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, bro, they're in a spot where yes, they had a week off, they had time to iterate and stuff, but generally that doesn't help nearly as much as going to an international tournament and downloading all the newest data from all the best teams around the world, you know? And I feel like some of those drafts that we saw in EWC look a lot like this one from T1, and they're already...
Oh, Youngjae, yeah. Unfortunately, the moment you get hit by that spear, that's just the end of it.
Did he get hit by the spear?
I think.
Kind of looked like he stepped on the trap nearby, but maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Maybe just a weird hitbox and it was the spear. Because it was a lot of damage.
Well, that's my point. I think it was because the first time when I watched it happen live, I thought it didn't hit.
Yeah.
But now looking at the chunk that was done, I don't know, it might have been a Tristana damage. It doesn't really matter, right? The moment that Faker shows up there, you should have an inkling that Owner's going to be nearby as well. And they did actually have a window there, I think. If they rotate Envy and follow up, I don't think it's likely that Brion is going to just win skirmishes against T1, but at the very least it would have been playable as Paulo should be able to get out, but Faker's chasing.
Yeah, Faker is chasing. He knows he has that Braum to try to set up, but now he's going to ult Morgan away as Morgan taking a ton of damage. Faker just frontlining as Tristana doesn't care. And as you mentioned, they are down a member, so T1 certainly getting in there and trying to make their case, but eventually it's a double kill for Pulbay.
I gotta say, Morgan actually with a great roam there. The reason why that play works is just because they're up a good amount of people. Really digs Pulbay out of the hole that he was in as well. Like, these kills are really, really big because otherwise the lane would have been, like, truly completely unplayable. It's still not in a good spot, don't get me wrong. Faker is still up a kill, which kind of offsets the CS lead. Faker also is sitting on a call, so I don't think the 1v1's going to look a lot better, but it does mean Pulbay at least is relevant. And that's the T1 we were talking about. Down a member, and they're like, we can out-hands it. It's fine, we can make it work. And to be fair, like it's a one for two trade in the grand scheme of things. That's still not too bad. They are really playing as aggressive as humanly possible.
Yeah. You know, I think T1 coming to this matchup and they know they're the big favorites and they're playing like it, but sometimes that gets T1 in trouble. We'll see if it gets them in trouble here as Keria will be fine. He holds up the door. As Owner, he's level 6. He's putting on a lot of pressure just by himself. As yes, the engage came in, but the follow-up was not quite there for Bro. Meanwhile, we have this 1v1 in the bot lane, which Guma is absolutely stomping.
We hadn't really talked about this yet because there was a lot more pressing matters on the map. Yeah, Guma is up a large amount of gold. Like a large amount of gold. And I don't
How large?
Yeah, well, very large, Veldas. Caught me off guard at the very least. And I think that as long as Envy is in that isolated 1v1 and Keria is just roaming around the map, you're gonna look to simultaneously get your own jungler ahead. As yeah, that's... Oh, he got it!
He actually got it, but he's also gonna get his death here. You're not getting away from this Nidalee that has flash, as the root does come in. And no! Not the disengage cone, please! It's a disengage cone.
Oh, despair!
Oh, no, he's gonna get away. Why is that cone there? Just to save his life for no reason. Shouldn't exist. Well, it was a nice play from Owner anyway.
To the dismay of Brendan Veldas, Youngjae makes it out. As a jungler, I'm like, oh god, he didn't get killed by Nidalee. I'm not too sad. I think Youngjae is struggling enough as is. But he still got the rep buff, you know? Owner flashed, which I think Owner's play was great there. Obviously, just shy of lacking the damage. Actually, if he got the rep buff, that might have been enough to be able to get the kill with the extra debuff and the fact that Youngjae wouldn't be healing. So do take a look at the CS per minute here. That's the one thing that Morgan did have to give up. I think with that roam did fall about a wave behind. has to enable the rest of his team. But the game state really isn't that bad. That doesn't mean that much, but it's nice.
It's not good, but it's not that bad.
It's not that bad, Val.
Could be worse.
And that's a win for Brion.
Yeah.
Because the 1.5K that they were behind at 5 minutes, that's still kind of the same. That's where we're at. It hasn't gotten worse, and I think that's a win.
It is. It actually is. You know, jokes aside, I think that T1 have really been trying hard to continue with their lead and put on as much pressure as possible. But at the end of the day, Bro have been able to stabilize a little bit, and, you know, they're still behind, but they're not getting farther behind, which is really the main key thing here. I think that double kill over to Pulbay is going to be extremely helpful for keeping them at least in parity with what Faker might be able to do. But we do know what Tristana can do anyway. As Guma, meanwhile, up 24 CS, is still by himself down on the bottom side. As Faker just going to jump away from that one. I feel like the zoom in is like Jonas Strong expecting Faker to jump in. Because sometimes
like,
he just does that.
Like flash ult, Pulbay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have surprised me, especially with how Faker has played with Tristana. Really, even going back to like MSI, there was a lot of Faker just being like, no, I'd win. And then he doesn't, but he just keeps going for it. Just keeps going in. As Morgan, this is Poppy, notoriously hard to dive, but I do think that they have the tools.
He does have his ult. He is going to knock the Nidalee away, and that should be enough.
Well, he's still going to lose the turret.
Yeah.
So it's something. They got grubs.
5 grubs. Not bad. This is going to deny it from Tristana, which I feel like is the biggest thing. But at the end of the day, now they're trying to dive onto Zeus, even a TP, and there's 4 people here against Cassante. Surely they just kill him, right? As a lot of damage is going into Youngjae and Paulo, and now Owner is here. Zeus still alive, as the damage will eventually take him down, but Owner is just feasting on the members of Bro that are behind this turret. As Faker is here as well, a jump over the top. Faker looking for another kill as an ult goes into the Poppy, and now Faker's jumping in again. And Envy here by himself has to flash away. Very nice ult himself, nearly takes off Faker's head, but is not going to be able to. At least he gets away alive.
Meanwhile, Guma continues playing League of Legends. He's actually playing Swarm, the new game mode where you just PvE. Very interesting stuff here from Guma. That was a bit of, I know that they ended up getting the kill, but that was a bit of a disaster of a dive, unfortunately, for Brion.
Harry, what are you doing?
It's fine, he's Braum, he doesn't care.
I guess he's holding the wave. Yeah, that makes sense. And Pulbay thinks he can kill him. That's not going to happen, so he's just going to flash away.
It's fine, he is Valkyrie.
Yeah.
So that top dive was, they weren't able to actually chain the CC, which is hard against the Cassante, to be fair. When we take another look, Zeus actually lived for so much longer, and reinforcements are very much on the way. So he doesn't get hit by the root. Then Morgan knocks him into the wall, but also knocks him out of the Zyra ult. And then as a result, Morgan takes like 2 extra turret shots, and it ends up being a bit of this. This was really cute from Faker here, jumping over already, knowing that he would get the reset, and then having the extra damage available. This was really nicely done by Envy, actually, getting the pre-buffer before he flashed, meaning that if he did just a little bit more gold, that could have been good as they're looking. This is a Tristana with flash. No buster shot, though. Could be a moment.
All right, there's the flash, nicely done, and the hop is going to be canceled. Faker, he's just pushing forward. He knows he's dead, but trying to take out Envy here might be able to. The flash forward, and he will be punished for that. As down he will go. Plate's still up, by the way, as Guma collects another one in the mid lane.
I can't believe they're still up. It feels like this is one of those games where Plate should have gone down a while back. And Guma just continuing to PvE.
Oh, no.
He's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Just gets stunned by Braum. Doesn't respect the Braum. You have to respect that stun coming through. The second that goes down, a trap right under you, and you're not getting away. So Pulbay's dead. Once again.
Mid lane turret's going to fall as well. I think Guma's goal was to get as many plates as possible. Maybe he watched Games Done Quick, you know, last week. He's trying to get the speed running.
It's on replay now, by the way.
Yeah, he's not.
What's going on here? He's just going to kill the Ezreal, as there was so much damage done to him by Guma that Zeus was like, yeah, I guess I just kill him.
You know what's the word? Look at that!
Yeah.
The worst part for me about this is that even with everything that's happened in this game, I feel like T1 is legitimately just looking at us like, guys, come on, I wanna get through this. We gotta get those turrets down as soon as we can.
It's a day at work.
It really is.
Than,
They're playing with reckless abandon. Here, Faker trying to get the flash in to get that final order, which I don't even think would have been enough. But it's, as we said, Faker just going very ham. And here, Pool Bay, just the moment you get stunned, even without Nidalee trap, I'm pretty sure he would have ended up dying. But, or without the Nidalee spear, rather, after the trap comes through.
Yeah.
They're just... Breon just can't do anything. It just feels so futile.
Yeah.
Valdez, they're 8k down.
There's not a lot of finesse in this game either. I feel like T1, you know, they're not using the scalpel in this one. They're using the giant sledgehammer. And they're just kind of swinging it in giant arcs towards Bro. And you know what? It's working. It's getting the damage down. There are a couple of Drakes that did go to Bro, but you know, Cloud Soul coming through, and T1 are still 8,000 gold ahead nearly. So at the end of the day, I don't think they're going to be stacking up many more Drakes in this game, let's say.
Both inners are gone on the side lanes, Valdez. We're 15 minutes in. They don't have inners. That's not okay. That's, oh man.
Yeah. It's not okay. Well, now we're TPing behind Pool Bay, who didn't realize that there was a ward there. Now, TPs are coming in from Bro as the stun is going to hit. The spear is not going to hit as a massive Magnet Storm is going to get the front line of T1 as they will be punished for their happy gaming. Bro, get in there and clean up a couple of them. And what can they get off of this is really the main question.
Oh, if this coincided with a Baron 4 minutes from now, that could have been a moment. If it coincides with another objective, but instead I think they're going to be happy. You know, they take a little bit of gold, but they're not getting the bounties. They're not really swinging the gold in a meaningful way. Just getting a couple of kills. Nicely done by Breon to get the reinforcement squad at the ready for Pool Bay, who looks like he has overstepped. Ends up not working out for T1. As we do see here, this is because there is no inner. They feel like they can go for plays like this, but there's not a whole lot of actual damage here. The spear from Owner doesn't actually hit. Nice cancel, like on the pullback there from Zeus, but they didn't have anyone that actually did a lot of damage. So Pool Bay makes it out. Nice reinforcements there from the rest of the team. Will it matter though? Is generally the overarching question. And I don't think it will, Valdez.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny that after that play, they were all still kind of cowering in their own jungle, just eating spear damage. It kind of shows you the state of the game. Even after a couple of kills, it's like, well, we still don't have control. We still don't have map control. Is damage taken?
That's actually kind of insane.
How did he take so much damage?
He's been involved in almost every skirmish. No, that's the cool thing. He's also playing Nidalee, which is notoriously a champion that's really easy to die on.
Really easy to die on, very slippery, can avoid a lot of damage, and yet Owner finds a way to take the maximum amount of damage.
Actually, my favorite part of that graph was Gumayushi being lost, because he just hasn't interacted with people.
He's not playing the game right now, yeah.
Well, he is. He's playing Swarm.
Yeah, not playing the League of Legends game, let's say.
It's just promo. Here, look at that. No damage taken. Just wants to get his turrets, man.
Area is just here by himself as I think he should be okay just because Owner is nearby and is level 12 as now the stun comes down onto Palu. And he's going to have to back away from this one. Bro looking for any picks they can get at all. As Guma has IE finished.
Yeah, T1 also still have a Herald, which we haven't really talked about yet, but that is a fact. That we kind of neglected to mention. It's coming down mid here now.
Yeah, generally Herald's used to take like the mid outer turrets.
And then maybe you do like a cool rotation to bot lane turn and then you pick that one up.
At best, yeah.
The net auto from Guma there doing half of Youngjae's health bar.
Yeah. Zyra also not very tanky.
No.
But he does have a giant spell now. It's going to help him a little bit.
That's nice. That's nice, Valdez.
That's nice, yeah. I like that for him.
The game isn't over yet, technically.
All right, fight over the Krugs. Tristana wins. Tristana always wins. Why is Faker allowed to play Tristana in this game?
We don't. We're not.
Why is he playing Tristana?
We're not supposed to have the answers to these questions, Valdez.
Maybe they saw the
us, no.
Yasuo and they're like, you know what? Maybe it's better that he just plays Tristana and not something else. But in this meta, I think you have to deny it.
So, on the upside for Breon, they are about to walk towards the Cloud Drake. I don't think they should. They should be able to take it. Although T1 might also just stay consistent with their planning and be like, we don't care. We're gonna like take top inhib. But they are actually making their way. Well, they're contesting. They're bringing everyone. And if they bring everyone, Breon is 8k gold down. They should not be allowed to really do anything.
Palu had Celestial opposition when he got hit by that ult.
Okay, the poke. Envy.
Yeah, Carry is flanking on Braum. A new kind of engaged Braum in this game.
He saw Poolway and got inspired.
Well, this Cloud Drake is going to be started up here by Bro. We have the first 5v5, the first real 5v5 as, Morgan going to cancel that one. And T1 don't seem to have a big interest in the Drake itself.
It's fine. Yeah. It's just I told you!
They're actually just going for the inhib. They don't care about the Drakes. The Drakes are fake. They're false. They're not real.
Drakes can't hurt you, Valdez.
I can't see the Drakes. And now they're just going to start the Baron because of all the pressure they have. They might as well. They're so far ahead. It's 10,000 gold. Almost. 9,000. Close enough. Oh no, Carry even gonna get in front of the True Shot barrage.
This is very early though, they don't have that much damage, maybe.
Where's Young Jay? He's not in position, he's not gonna get there on time. The slow is there and he just can't get in there to smite it as, now they're thinking about engaging as MD getting a little bit close to the sun. A lot of traps here as well. Nice Magnus Storm, only gonna hit the Braum though, so not very nice actually. I take that back, cancel the nice. As now Zeus is going 1v2, 1v3 in the backline, gets the knockup, forces the flash, does die, as everybody is super low and Guma is charging into everybody, flashing forward onto Envy, and will take him down. And maybe T1 just end the game now.
They're not even playing the same game, Valdez. That's what we're witnessing here. I look at this game like, all things considered, you know, Breon actually had a lot of great proactive moments. They did stuff, they banded together, it just doesn't matter. They are so far behind in Global Gold, and Youngjae obviously, only way he gets into the pit is flashing, but they're not in time, thanks to the traps and the zoning, and then here the engage from Palu, only finds frontline, doesn't really get a whole lot done. They gotta try something when all turrets are still standing at this point in time, and Zeus gives them a freebie, setting up for Guma, but I think this Nexus should drop.
All right, well, Palu
trap
behind enemy lines, which is their own lane. Faker is going to flash and jump away, and Zeus now 1v5 in the backline himself. I feel like a lot of T1 members are like, please just end the game already. I want to go home. As Zeus, oh no, still alive here, gonna get a heal from Owner. As Faker goes over the wall, they take out Envy, and you are right, Chronicler, this is not the same game that these two teams are playing. Carrier goes down. Meanwhile, once again, Guma is frontlining against 4 people, and he doesn't have to care because they are just so far ahead.
Oh boy. I wonder what actually I don't think Guma got a final. Maybe it was the Collector plus red buff that got the kill. It wouldn't have mattered.
He's got 3 items.
He does.
Oh.
Yeah, he went in, right? Valdez?
Very proactive. Love that. And Morgan is going to go down, as will this turret on the Nexus. And Faker is just going to jump into them. T1 do not care, as Faker will take him down. And the Nexus will fall at 23.5 minutes for T1's first victory.
Well, that's a very different philosophy as to how to deal with jet lag. Which is, if we win fast enough, it won't matter.
Yeah.
It's fine. I think you can notice that we're a little bit out of sorts, because what do you say about a game like that?
Yeah.
Breon, I think their skirmishes were better than they looked before the break, so that was nice. that was the only thing that you can say about that game as a positive takeaway, because the laning gaps were so huge, and the objective control that came through from T1 was so much better. And I'm not talking about, you know, the cool objectives, the dragons and the ground.
No.
I'm talking about cold, hard stone. Rock and stone, all the turrets gone in seconds. And T1, they didn't lose a single one. 10-0.
Yeah. That was a game. I think we're on to something. I think T1 have decided, you know, they've shown up to work today. They are required to do so. It was on the schedule. And they say, you know what, let's just end this as soon as we possibly can. They got Tristana, they got Caitlyn Braum, and the game ended. Owner also on the Nidalee, I feel like, having a very fun time. And that's going to do it for game number 1, guys. We're going to take a break and have the space to break down that wonderful game number 1, and we'll be right back.
알리? 나 철광물 있어. 미드라인도 바로 붙여줘.
내가 할게.
일단 억제기 안 쳐도 돼.
야, 미니언 좀 남겨줘라. 디바야. 레일 노플. 한대 왔어.
자이라도 노플이야, 자이라 노플.
나 이제 나한테 쓸게. 레일 노플. 더 갖고.
자이라 노플.
이제 5초, 이제 5초. 자이라 필.
이즈 노플이야.
나 날라갔어.
나 괜찮아. 이즈 앞비전. 방어 깨볼래?
어딨어, 이제?
점 노플 노플. 이거나.
나이스.
And Samvert can do a more consistent job. At least they are now on the blue side, so they can just pick Trist and be fine.
Yeah, I would assume that you ban it away from Karis. He's also a great Tristana player. He played it a lot. I think that for T1, though, Faker is great at the Corki, so maybe they also just trade that matchup themselves. We'll see what they decide to go for, as Vi and Ashe will be banned. I think the ban on Ashe on the blue side is a good idea, especially against T1. Maybe against other teams you would ban other champs, but you got to take Ashe out of the hands of Guma or Keria, or maybe even Zeus one day, I don't know. Rumble, also going to be banned here.
Yeah, you could honestly tell me every single champion. I believe you if you told me that Zeus would play it. Except something like Cho'Gath, that's too boring. He doesn't
Yeah.
do that. That's not a thing. I'm not going to allow that Nidalee ban to come through here. I am with the space. I think Faker also went, particularly with the side laning, a lot of impact, but Owner had an incredible game, snowballed the early game. That mid-jungle duo definitely should not be given over again, and it hopefully won't, because if this is not a Tristana pickup, we're going to be very sad.
Watch them pick Sejuani here.
Why would you even mention that, Feldes? Why would you even mention that, Feldes?
I am one with the universe right now. Get on my level, Chronicler. No, I think it's high comfort for Young Jay. They feel okay playing Corki and Tristana. I don't know why. I don't agree with it, and neither do any of our analysts, as it did get a big groan from the Korean side as well, unsurprisingly.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's obviously, that's, yeah, no. Take it away, Feldes.
Yeah, no problem. I'll take it away from here. Owner's like, which champ should I troll with today? Kalista, pretty good.
This doesn't feel bad. You remember what the space highlighted in the previous draft, right? They were like, okay, so you got Caitlyn and you got Tristana, two really hard shoving lanes, and if they win, they really stop. It's the same thing. Just gave him this.
Well, oh,
well, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, the Renekton.
The Renekton.
He is there. Lock it in. Ship it away. This is a tough situation for me because I don't want to be too down on the team that's struggling this much. We've seen this even with teams that, by all accounts, should be doing a lot better. KT is a good example. We had Nongshim in 2022, right? Sometimes a team just gets to a point where it doesn't feel like they can win. And I think going for comfort, I respect that. I think that makes sense. I don't understand how we go out of that or come out of that last game, and this is the decision making. And like again, realistically, Breon is very unlikely to beat T1, but at least we should give them an opportunity. In this, Azir into Tristana is a match like the Tristana started coming up as a counter to Azir.
Yeah,
that's how she started getting play, like way back before she was as strong as she is now. Obviously, really benefited from the AD carry item rework that we had a couple of months ago. This bot side, I don't know what you're going to end up with. Like Ezreal Karma, maybe.
It's getting banned. At least the Leona, just to deny like Ezreal Leona. But yeah, it does feel like Bro are really trying to dig deep to their roots. They're like, okay, where have we found success in the past? Let's just try to hold on to our identity. You know, let's play champs that we know how to play 100%. And maybe from there we can fix some of the other issues. But the unfortunate part of that is that it just ignores the entire current meta, which is a big deal in League of Legends. Especially with Tristana, just how strong she is. It's actually a Zeri ban. So Ezreal available if that does want to get played, unless Zeus plays it into Renekton. I would not even be surprised.
We didn't see the Ezreal Karma last time around. I hope that they see it as a more viable option this time around because they have the Sejuani. Last time they would have been lacking engage. I think this time that won't be nearly as much of a problem because I want them to have as strong of a lane as possible without actually having to engage. Like, I don't think you can pull out like a Draven lane, right? Like, I think that's just not realistic. Trying to do that into Guma and Keria, as we will, of course, not get sucked in by the appeal of hovers. As I think T1 is just going to play something very straightforward. Aatrox will make sense, being in this type of skirmishy style, but it's going to go for Cassante.
Yeah. Makes sense. It's pretty straightforward, provides a front line. Again, can kind of run at the opponents to force engages, especially from ahead. And it can deal with pretty much any matchup, including the Renekton. Although Renekton, I feel like, does do a decent job in this one, as Misfortune going to be picked up alongside of Rel. We were, you know, with this patch thinking maybe Misfortune would be played along the way. And here she is.
I really like that. I think it's a good shout coming through here from Breon. I still would have rather seen something that can at least push back in lane. I do think the laning phase is still going to be really tough. But it's, you know, it's a wombo comp for Breon here. If you didn't look at the T1 champions, I'd be like, man, that's good. But then you do, and you realize that they are playing a front-to-back team fight into Brand and Renata.
Yeah.
And their lanes are not looking good in terms of not getting blown up.
Nope.
So top
not
lane,
a single one.
No, top lane's winning.
Okay.
To be fair, I trust Morgan. You know, he got his Renekton banned, and Morgan should be able to get the better of Zeus in the 1v. That won't matter, but that's, you got a winning lane. So maybe Youngjae and Morgan can take the rest of the team on their back and get them to 5v5s where you might have a shot, but it's going to be hard not to get outpaced by the Brand. It's going to be hard to not get blown up in lane by the Tristana. And the composition from T1 is so explosive. Like, I can't overstate that enough.
Yeah, I really love that Brand R5 as well. I feel like you're just chunking so many health bars. Renekton, Sejuani, Rel all get absolutely blown up by this pick. It's a very popular pick in the LPL. We see it every once in a while here in the LCK, just because we kind of play a wider variety, I guess, of the AP champions, and we don't prioritize the Brands quite as much. But in this spot specifically, it feels perfect. And it's already great with all the other pieces that you mentioned, Chronicler. So we'll see if this very cohesive, you know, nice team fight kind of comp from the side of Bro works this time around, or if T1 are just going to smash them over the head with the sledgehammer once again, like what happened in game number 1. Guys, let's get ready. Let's hop into the rift for game number 2.
이곳에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, game number 2. Youngjae on Sejuani, Karis on Azir, Morgan on Renekton. Palu, I feel like actually his most played is Rel. I don't have that stat in front of me, but I feel like he plays it all the time. So 4 out of 5. Extreme comfort here for Bro.
Is that enough? We'll see, Valdez. I'm not optimistic, but I'm willing to be convinced. You know, we're going into this with some qualms, with some trepidation, but maybe Brian can finally show us why the Bro Leavers are out there. Well, I mean, they don't really need to do anything. The Bro Leavers are there.
I feel like they're
not
there
going
because
anywhere.
of moments like this, almost more than because of fantastic drafts.
I do really think that there were... They were a team, like back in 2021, 2022, that did actually win a lot of games that they weren't supposed to. And I feel like that just hasn't really been the case. Faker going for Fleet this time around. I'm pretty sure he went PTA last time. So he's going to have the extra sustain. Same for Karis. Movement speed also nice into the Azir. The MF, I actually think coming out is quite cool. I do like this pick for what she can provide in terms of obviously team fighting power when you find good old combos, but also her laning can actually be pretty impressive if she does get a lead. It's a short range 2v2 into Kalista Renata.
That's the thing, like, if you get a lead, I feel like you're picking this comp, you see Kalista Renata face up, and you're like, let's lose lane. Like, I don't know, when you pick the Rel especially.
Yeah, that's...
Like, if it's MF Varus or, you know, something like, I don't know, MF Karma, or that's not really a lane, but something like that you could challenge, but not this.
At least I'd much rather see something like the Leona and Nautilus, which you can't pick Nautilus into Renata, so like that makes sense. But I want to highlight is that, okay, well, as we say, that carrier does get caught off guard a little bit.
He's helping. He's giving him a chance.
Very generous, really. Samver getting a good chunk there is quite nice. It's going to force the back to come through from carry as well, so at least that will provide some respite. But yeah, I think the big thing for me with Rel is that her team fighting is a lot better, but you do just sack lane. Because Rel doesn't have the damage that Leona and Nautilus do, which is why I think they have been much more prevalent. Obviously, Yen picking Nautilus into Renata is about as unfun as it gets, so that does make sense to me as... Morgan doesn't have his E.
Yeah, it's just a bait here. The red buff coming down and Morgan's just dead. I mean, he has flash, but he's not even going to bother to use it. That's first blood going over to Owner. Very nicely baited out here by Zeus, as it was looking a little bit dicey for him, but just meant that Owner gets the kill as the handshake is going to miss. But now Palu's very out of position here against the Kalista as the Ren comes out and he nearly loses his life as well.
That's a really standard timing as well. Owner didn't do anything crazy, he just literally full cleared from bot to top. So that should be something that Morgan definitely expects. If he doesn't use his E and just gets the crash in, he actually might be able to get out. Maybe, but not going to be the case. Try to go as aggressive as possible, and it backfires immensely. Now Zeus just going to be able to TP back to his lane and be completely fine. Picks up a very early Bramble, which I don't think is the best into Renekton, but still provides you with armor and a good amount of shred. As you're saying, Val, it's just a bait.
I don't even know if it was a bait, to be honest. I feel like he wanted to take a good trade, but he failed it.
Nah.
But it was still good, because, well, he died.
I'm willing to give him the benefit of that with the brand also coming up. And again, this is as easy of a timing as you could get, so unfortunately for Morgan, maybe they thought that Owner started on top side. I'm not 100% sure what they saw in terms of early jungle tracking, but definitely a big win, getting the brand ahead early. It's the sole AP source on T1. There's a lot of beefy boys and health stackers, like, because Morgan is going to get tanky just from the amount of health he's going to get, which obviously Brand does exceptionally well in. And then if you itemize MR, then Faker and Guma are going to bonk you over the head.
Yeah, that is a little bit of an issue for sure. And Brand is going to have a fun time in this one, as the double-ups have been nice from Samver. Owner's living his best Brand life. He did full clear into kill, first blood into bottom side clear into Dragon, which is very fast for Brand. And he's just very far ahead. It's an early Chemtech Drake Morgan is going to be able to get a nice chunk into the turret already. As Faker level 6 threatening Karis once again.
I see Karis doing a good job of navigating this matchup early. Obviously, the fact that Paul Bay made such big mistakes in lane in the previous game ended up being very detrimental. Allowed T1 to really snowball the game through mid-jungle in a much more aggressive way than I think otherwise they would have been able to. This is one of my biggest issue with the Tristana is that we do see Paulo on a roam here, but like realistically, she's so hard to lock down. Oh no.
Yeah, Morgan's in a lot of trouble here. Just gets pulled back into multiple members. His owner is even here as well. The preemptive swap coming out from T1. And everybody's just gathering up for some grubs. They only got one in the last game, but they're going to get a lot more this time.
Oh, the read from Brion just isn't good because Samver is now going to start to push the wave. Like, they'll be able to crash a big wave into this bot lane turret, so that's at least a bit of a win. We'll see if Morgan can catch the topside wave, then it won't be too bad, but MF, like, the wave clear is okay, but not really going to be that amazing, especially pre-6. If you can just hard shove that, might be able to get a second plate. Now I think it's just going to be one. With Owner still in the area, Morgan isn't going to be able to get any of this.
Well, they might be approaching this turret once Paulo comes here, but with Brand nearby, with Owner here, they're not winning this trade. It is a 3v2, and they don't seem to identify that. Oh, the handshake is just dirty as Paulo in a lot of trouble. Faker going to flash into the charge from the Sejuani. And yeah, he's going to die. So nice little plate traded back here from Bro. And actually, Paulo did stay alive.
That's a pretty big win here for Brion. Looking very different compared to that game number 1. Able to get Morgan his wave. Zeus did end up catching the wave, but Samfer still did a good amount of damage. Picked up a large amount of farm for his call. He is going to go for the wave clear ult there, as we unfortunately have to take a look at Morgan again. Brion just very caught off guard by this lane swap, something that we've seen a lot, right? Just to get the grubs. And with the Renata and Kalista, because they have the tempo advantage, make an easy way over. As yeah, I wanted to give Youngjae the benefit of the doubt, but that was actually just straight up a flash when the Q was already buffered.
He could have just flashed the other way, like south, and he would have been totally fine. But I feel like Faker was like, no, I win these. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to get him. I'm flashing in. I'm getting this kill. So the neutralizing effect of Karis has been working out better this time in game 2. And a nice gank from Youngjae to get the job done. Has his Zeke's completed. Carry a level 5 here, looking for another cheeky handshake. And there it is.
We've already had 2 examples of people flashing into skill shots. So we had Paulo, who didn't die, and then Faker, who did die.
Hey, that was just a predict, okay, from Carria. For Youngjae, I'm not sure.
Sure. Good enough. Good enough. We're gonna have to.
We're giving them the benefit of the doubt, right?
You know, Brion with a team fight, wombo combo style composition, not being behind more than 1k gold. That's not too bad.
Not too bad. Look at this, predicting Owner coming in, and Youngjae gonna get ahead of the T1 jungler. As yes, the ult will be thrown in. That's a lot of damage. Faker not gonna get the jump in time. Now he's gonna jump towards the north, but he's going down. That's a solo kill from Karis over Faker, and he will be punished.
Any bro levers out there? Owner tries to cut corners. They goes in, not having any vision in the brush, just gets found by Youngjae ahead of the curve on that one. And then in mid, Karis just gets the outplay. Ooh, Feldes. Brion coming alive in the second game.
That they are. They found a lot of nice picks here, and they have evened up the gold now. You mentioned before, a little bit behind, not a big deal, but gold parity. Definitely a nice little chance here as Morgan is going to dash the right way.
He would have died. Owner was waiting for his snack there. He's like, says, where's my snack pack? Where's my crocodile? I'm hungry. They didn't get his snack. Very sad.
Yeah. You bring any snack today? Outside of yourself?
Oh, I didn't have to do that. Just a protein bar. It's very boring. I didn't really bring anything of note. Really good read here by Brion. see the big stacked wave, have an inkling, as, yeah. Faker just jumped in. And then he gets the reset, but at that point it's obviously already too late. It's caught off guard, like by just the edge of that ultimate, which, of all people, Faker obviously should have an inkling that he might be swept back there. And at the end of the world, T1 still going to be up and go to 6 grubs here. I don't think they're going to be feeling too bothered about this, but it's a better game than game 1. And after seeing the draft, I didn't see that one coming, and it's a big win for the bros.
Sometimes that's the way it goes. The ones you least expect to be bangers end up being bangers. We do have Cloud Soul again. Atlas is not here, I promise you. He's taken the day off, which must be nice. You know?
Can't relate, Valdez.
Yeah, I can't relate. I hope he's resting up for tomorrow. And yeah, just Cloud Souls abound. I feel like it's going to be very valuable for both sides. Both sides actually did pick up a Drake in this game. T1 electing to actually pick up the first one with the brand in this one. They weren't able to get any Drakes in the first game. Didn't really need any, as Bro got 3 and then immediately lost.
They were instead opting for a cool new strategy where they just got every turret and not get any other objective. I think they got Herald and I want to say 1 grub. Yeah, they got 1 grub.
They got 1 grub.
Yeah, 1 grub, Herald, only some Void. As we do see a potential dive being set up here.
That's a handshake already. Paulo in a little bit of trouble, but he's not going to get hit by 3 abilities from Owner. As now it's actually T1 who are in trouble as a massive sweep. The Wombo Combo! It comes to life as Bro will pick up the kills. They will take down 3 members of T1. Faker does get in and takes out Paulo, but man, now we know what this comp does.
Commander Karis swoops in from the mid lane. Is it happening, Feldas?
It's happening.
Are the Bro Leavers finally getting rewarded after all this time? Really, I want to give credit, because you talk about the Wombo combo, but the actual setup needs to be crisp. That was really nicely done. The fact that Owner tries to flash out, still gets swapped back in. The fact that
Karis, the commander, you know, he fights with the squad, and he is totally fine.
Of course.
Untouchable.
It can't go down. He needs to lead his troops.
Yeah.
He's the Emperor.
Well,
Wise
commander. Yeah.
Well, he can be both.
Emperor and commander.
Yeah, I think we should look into Azir lore next and see. He's the commander of the... I assume he would be, you know. Back in the day, I feel like Emperor's kind of all-encompassing as a title.
Samber in a little bit of trouble. Instant cleanse, though. Very nicely done.
Actually gets a whole lot of damage down. Obviously, Gumat bailout.
Look at his health bar.
Yeah.
It's full. So, nice trade for Bro.
Actually ends up working. As we take another look at this, just caught off guard by Karis being first, and then that flash from Owner. If Owner is alive, I actually think with the Faker TP, they might be able to get something going here. If he can just get an extra rotation in, but he just gets blown up immediately, and with Brand, mispositions like that, you can't afford. And there it is, Magnet Storm. It's so satisfying when you talk about a Wombo combo comp, and then it actually happens, and you just see how it can work. Oh boy.
Samver does have flash, but can he get out of this one? Yes, he will. The stun also hitting, and Samver getting out with the flash. So trading flash for TP is not half bad.
Oh, hey, you'll take that. Might be in some trouble when it comes to the health of their turret. Faker is making his way over to try and take that down. It's going to be probably a Herald for turret trade. They do know Zeus is there. Was spotted on the board earlier on. Paulo and Morgan heroically trying to keep this turret alive. I don't think they can.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening. The Magnet Storm, very lackluster. The TP is going to get canceled. That's just not going to happen, as now it's a 3v2, make it a 4v2. Is Guma going to join up? Morgan, not very long for this world. The only question is, who do they give the kill to? It will be, in fact, Faker, unsurprisingly, who will pick up that kill.
There were a lot of decisions that could have been made there, and unfortunately that was not the right one. If Karis TPs in a little bit earlier, I think it would have been fine. I think in general, though, if you're playing for Herald and you're playing for top turret, just let them have the bot side turret. Don't try to win the map on every side of the map against T1. They tried, and they got punished oh so heavily because now they lose their inner as well. 2 kills going over. And all of a sudden, the gold lead firmly back in favor of T1.
You just get so much gold in your pockets when you're taking down 2 turrets and 2 kills at the same time. It's just kind of insane how fast the gold can swing. And Bro had a nice thing going, but unfortunately not able to hold on to it for too long. As we're going to have to watch this once again. Already the turret was taking so much damage, especially with the Demolish, which I think eventually does come in from Zeus once he sees the... actually, it was from Carrion, the Demolish. So he's the one who hits it. And it just goes down so fast that Karas has no time to get in.
Again, I want to reiterate, I think you just let them have it. Like, you're playing on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
Already, don't really need to go for this. Should be able to get mid lane with the mites. So that's it's not the end of the world for Brian. It just means that T1 is in a much better position. And I think, realistically, they should be in this game. I think maybe... How are you doing, Veldes? Is the fatigue setting in for you? Because maybe that's what's happening here.
Maybe, yeah, a little bit.
A little bit?
A little bit, yeah. No, I'm still okay for now. I'll
Throwing
have my
that
second cup
1-to-1
of
line.
coffee.
Oh, you did?
No, I will.
Oh, you
at,
will?
you know, 7 p.m. as you do. We'll get there for Series 2 to keep me afloat. For T1, they only have to deal with this series. And, you know, a couple of turrets did go over to Bro. And yes, T1 are getting some turrets of their own. This is kind of the Tristana special. If left unchecked, she just kills turrets very fast. And they got the bottom 2. They're going to get the top 2 as well. And T1 will maintain a lead of gold.
How are they getting both inners by 17 minutes? Last time it was 15.
It's because everybody on Bro was in mid. And they committed heavily to taking down that tier 1. And then everybody back, so nobody was there to stop the top push. Unfortunate.
Well, T1 back with a gold lead. Nothing too crazy. And I do actually, again, the Brian composition will always be dangerous to play into. Right? I think the main issue for me is that if you don't get Owner into a big sweep with Karas' ultimate, he's going to be doing a whole lot of damage. And the earlier kills going over the Faker means that he has not just hit his 2-item spike and isn't even that far behind Karas when it comes to gold. See the bounties parity there as well. Have to see what Brian can do. They are posturing pretty aggressively towards his bot side jungle. There's no objective up right now. I want to look for a fight. I don't know. Maybe over the blue buff? Could be. These choke points are good for Brian, though.
It is a very nice choke point, but you want to elect to just get out of there. Zeus is going to be ulted himself. He does have flash, but he doesn't want to use it, as now he will at the very end. Also, we do see the hostile takeover just sailing by. That is going to force Bro out of the choke. And they don't get much outside of Zeus' flash.
We also haven't talked about it as much yet, but I'm really happy to see Kalista not be lethality. Like, I think the opportunity nerfs really showing their mark, which is good. There was a lot of opportunities for everyone.
Yeah.
Which, you know, from a conceptual point of view, I really like, but from an itemization point of view, I really didn't appreciate. Right now, Brian still have the team fighting power to win at any point, but like when you look at how the fights actually play out, that's where it becomes a little bit tough. Getting a good ultimate is really is really hard for Samver, because there is so much threat for stationary targets, right? There's Tristana jumping on top of you. There's Keria with his ultimate. They can get a pick, though. That would be huge.
Yeah, it feels like Youngjae and Palu kind of leading the charge on all plays and just begging anyone on the side of T1 to overstep their bounds and just go a little bit too far, which, to be honest, I mean...
They have.
T1 have done that many a time in this game and in other games, and oftentimes it works out well for T1, but sometimes it ends up being labeled happy gaming, which generally not happy for T1, happy for their opponents. So Youngjae and Palu just begging for someone on T1 to get a little bit over-aggressive. But as of the last 5 minutes, T1 actually have been playing very balanced. It feels like, you know, they're not taking any big risks. Yes, Faker has been pushing side lanes kind of unchecked, which could have been punished, but it wasn't. So T1 just enjoying a nice little lead at this point in time.
Yeah, I forgot at which exact era T1 gained back the, you know, you can always win a team fight no matter how far behind you are. Because I feel like there was a large part of like 2022 where there were really good early game and they had great team fighting, but it didn't feel like they really had that comeback as much as they did in previous years. And I think ever since we hit like what, Worlds 2023, that's been it's been very much there. We saw it very recently as well at DWC. We'll see if Brion can avoid that. And I know that we're talking about them like they're ahead, even when they're, you know, down about 1,000 gold.
Yeah.
But with the team comp, I really don't think it's the end of the world. The main issue is going to be how much can Zeus do. He is the only frontline for T1. He is the best frontline, though, especially with Skarner being taken away, which I think is good. I think we all had enough Scorpion for a little while.
Yeah, I think it was good. He had a nice big comeback onto the stage, you know, had his moment to shine in the spotlight, but then we were like, okay, that's enough. Let's sweep him over to the side of the stage. Let's get Cassante back up there. We haven't seen enough of him. How about Renekton? Now, Palu, okay, that stun is going to miss. Owner not expecting Palu to react quite as fast as he did, so props to Palu.
I don't know about the Q, but the crashdown was good.
Yeah, yeah. Crashdown was good. He got out of dodge. He's fine. Now they're going to start up the Baron, actually. Very nice proactive, play from Bro. And T1 don't seem to have any idea, as now they are. The blue trinket does come in. And they will 100% know as TP now utilized by Zeus. But Bro, they get the TP out of Zeus.
That's clean.
But they keep this leash. Faker just going to...
That's not.
Yeah, gonna dash into 5 people, I guess. The fight's still going as Owner's in a lot of trouble. Down he goes. As Carrier gonna handshake here. That's a double kill for the MF, who is now 5-0.
They're just outplaying them straight up.
True. It's not too difficult to do.
T1,
but they're doing it.
T1's just losing their mind. Brion, great Baron setup. They actually have a lot of damage with Karis. So the initial Baron setup is great. And then Zeus TPs and you're like, okay, you know what? Bro backs off, which I think is great. Good. Very clean play. And then that should have been the end of it.
Cut the tape.
That should have been the end of it, Valdez.
Cut the tape. Nobody wants to see
and then
that
Faker just jumps in. And then that's... Yeah, that he shouldn't have done that. I feel like that goes without saying. Then the rest of Brion is very ready to catch the ball that was so graciously thrown by T1. And now they have an Ashe. They have an insanely strong teamfight composition. Criploom's done for Karis. And they're about to get Soul Point.
Bro are in a really good spot to win this game. I think they actually probably should from this point. I thought that T1, they were hitting that moment of realization where they're like, if we lose this game, we have to play another game. And I thought they were like, oh God, guys, okay, calm down. We need to win this one. We need to get the 2-0. But then they just went a little bit crazy, as you're mentioning it. And Bro are playing great. They're playing as a team. Everybody's playing very balanced.
It's the super subs.
Yeah, they had that one iffy moment in the bottom lane with the TP and trying to keep the turret alive. But outside of that, Bro have been having a very strong game.
All they need to make sure is that they don't have someone like overextend inside, go into hand.
It is, that's the ult, but it is the Fate's call to answer. And so they will be okay for now, but the Baron buff, Red Bull Baron power play is just growing in size. They will take down this mid inner.
I actually really like this from Brion. Instead of going and using the Baron for Dragon, they actually really maximize the pushing power. I think a lot of the lower tier teams especially are not that good at getting big Red Bull Baron power plays. They get, you know, like maybe a turret or two. I don't know if Brion is going to be able to actually get more, but more so the philosophy behind it, actually using it to push and then turning it into an objective as opposed to just being like, someone stand near the wave, we have prio, and we take it without actually threatening the turret. For T1, the outs start to become less and less obvious, right? We're looking at eventually, obviously, Faker's going to hit 3 items, Owner's going to be able to chunk through a lot of the health bars on Brion. But if Brion can just engage at will consistently and keep having Samver hit these amazing ultimates, it's going to be really hard for T1 to find a comeback. They're setting up some traps here. And it's not... Cloud Soul, I think, is tough, but looking at Cloud Soul, there's some great recipients and also some kind of mediocre ones, right? Like Renekton is obviously insane. I think for Rel, it's really good. for MF, yeah, don't really get a whole lot of value. But the
Yeah.
individual Drakes for MF are actually quite valuable.
Yeah, they definitely are. I think they're going to enjoy it just in general, even just for getting around the map, just for playing as a team, making sure everybody's in the right place at the right time. Just little things like that to give Bro a really good chance to take down T1. I said it at the top of the day, if Bro were going to have a chance to take out T1 in the current state, it would be today. As T1 got off a flight yesterday. They are playing today some League of Legends. And at this point in time, you know, the MF is going crazy. Karis also has not died. The Sejuani looking incredibly comfortable for YoungJay. We all rolled our eyes and shook our heads when we saw the Sejuani pick. And I think, in theory, it's probably still not the right pick, but
I'm sticking.
But
we're not results-based analysis.
no, I'm just saying. I still don't think it. I don't think it was the right choice. I still think you should have picked Tristana.
I just want to make sure, Valdez.
But he has looked great on the Sejuani.
I agree.
So at least the comfort's there.
I'm with you. Einar is going to be taken here towards the top side. Morgan needs to be careful not to overstep.
Okay, he's going to get away from that one. Nice reaction from Morgan. As now this turret is just being...
Wait. Hold up.
Guys. Are they going to get the inhibitor here, really? I mean, YoungJay is going to come back, and in the 3v3, I think they have to respect. Now, Guma is here.
Oh, if they can cancel the backs, Karis actually should be able to just get the top side inhib.
Yeah, he should be able to get this inhib. Meanwhile, Faker trying to go back, but it's too late. I mean, this inhibitor is already going down. So he's going to give up on that. He goes mid. And now the TP's coming out from Karis, actually. The inhibitor already taken down. And T1 going to respect that TP and try to back away out of this one.
Valdez. Well, they really wanted to try. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case.
Oh, they're going bot. And there's zero vision in this jungle right now for Bro. Actually, there's one ward, sorry.
Like, they don't win. I don't think they win. Even with Tristana, I don't think they win the base race with the state of the wave.
I think they do. I think if they had all committed right there and we went,
yeah,
I don't know. It would have been really close. 6 grubs being pointed out on the side of T1 as well, which certainly would have helped them on the turrets.
I definitely think Breon made the right decision not to commit to a base race when they're in this good a position.
Yeah.
For T1, it would have been very in line with how they're playing this game out in general.
They're like, please end this game now.
One way or another.
Yeah. Well, they definitely want the win.
So as you're saying, especially when the series will continue further on, exhaustion is actually going to play a part. They're looking for a pick, but Morgan is respecting.
The gold leads in mid and 80 carry are huge.
Yeah.
It's 2,000 to 3,000 gold in favor of Bro. No deaths, so there are some pretty big shutdowns that have been built up for Karis and Samver. So maybe if T1 get a pick somewhere, that would be pretty big, but they need to get those picks. And right now it's not looking too likely as Bro, they want to start this one up, but there is a ward that spots it immediately.
That ward is really, really important. Because they don't have any control of the jungle outside of that. Breon, are they going to risk it?
I think they are. Owner has flash as well as he goes in very early, and it will go the way of Sejuani. YoungJay gets the smite down. T1 in an awful spot, but now they have the front to back here. Morgan is going to go down. Keria gets the bailout, and now K'Sante is going insane, but Faker in a really rough spot. He's going to go down. Guma and Zeus, the only ones left alive here, but the core of Bro are still here, still pushing, and they have a Baron buff once again. As they try to get on top of Guma, he's hopping around, he's trying to dodge, and he has dodged everything until that last stun. And he will be taken down as Bro, 3 members strong, will win the team fight.
Oh, that kill on Morgan, I think the biggest. If he can just TP towards top, they might have been able to end the game there. And T1, Breon called their bluff. Owner goes over, doesn't win the smite fight. And with that, Breon win the fight, take the objective. As we take another look, Owner, only way he over gets, actually flashes away from the ultimate as well. Very nicely done, but he doesn't get the smite. And even though Samver gets the ultimate off on only Owner, he still ends up going down. And then it's some heroics from Zeus who actually gets the Q3 on top of Samver here, which ends up making this fight even remotely close, but unfortunately they don't have the damage with Faker. Goes down later on, but especially with Owner dying so early because he had to try and get the objective, as Guma, you can hit, you can hop, but eventually you are going to get taken down. And now Soul there for Breon. 6k gold lead, another Baron goes
Look
their
at
way.
how fast the MF is. He's sprinting through the jungle and Faker's left all alone. Down he goes. Doesn't even have a chance to flash away.
I think that's it. Actually, I think that's should be enough. They can just push bot side in now, get the inhib there. And Breon, they're gonna get the game win. It's looking like Veldes.
Not surprising to me in the slightest.
He called it at the top of the day.
Yeah. And, bro, they're pushing. They have the Red Bull Baron power play ticking. They have 3,000 gold from that one. As the wave clear is there with the brands and, you know, even the Cassante. But it's still going to be 2 inhibitors at least. And actually, with the top inhibitor already down, that will be number 3 once the mid inhibitor does go down. Deathless game so far for YoungJay and Karis. Just really clean stuff from the side of Bro, as they will punish T1, it looks like, in this second game, unless T1 can pull off the immaculate and miracle holds here, as they are going to get on top of Karis. He does go into his Zhonya's as he's just tanking the MF ult, but he doesn't seem to care. Down will go Karis, as T1 actually do have a chance here. The flash in from Morgan. Guma is fine, but Zeus is not, and this MF is just way too large. As Samber gonna take them all down. Faker gets stunned, and Bro is going to win game number 2. And a potential Penta to come in here if Samber can get close, but he's not gonna risk it. Bro just wants the win, and they will have it against T1.
Oh, there needs to be a little bit. I was like, oh, don't risk that. Even with the minions, probably would have been enough. And T1 learn, as we have done so many times in the LCK, the lesson again, you can't discount any LCK team. If you try to cut too many corners, you are going to get punished. And for the Bros, what a win this is. Yes, it's just a 1-game win. But who would have expected that after game 1? Who would have expected that after the draft? As Karis and Samver come in and transform Breon into a team with good enough team fights to take down T1.
The super subs are real. T1 left scratching their heads about how they could have potentially ended this game quicker. It didn't happen, as 32 minutes was the score, or the time rather, for Bro to get the win. Almost 30,000 damage for Samver, as he had some huge ults in this one. And Bro are going to bring us to a game 3. They will have to play from the red side. We'll see if they can find that Tristana ban, or if it will matter at all. As guys, we're going to take a break and have the space to break down game number 2. We'll be right back.
거 심하고. 아즈리가 손.
이번 라인 들어온다. 천천히 마. 타워 체스 타워. 이번에 공항 던져. 아니 아래 타워 아래 타워. 공항 던져보. 산테 있어.
얘네
공항 던졌어.
빠지고.
얘네 급해 얘네 급해.
맞아. 나와줘.
산테. 한타. 쌈박. 리퍼야 뒤에. 뒤려도 돼.
각이 안 나.
칼 볼게. 빼면서. 더 빠지면서 딜에 나 딜 못해 딜 다 잡아
나이스.
그래 다 잡아 빼지마
아, 펜타 가자. 펜타. 아, 끝. 어려. 나이스.
And T1 wasn't ready. That's the reality of the situation. I am sure that the takeaway is Tristana's fine, and Karis can just gap him. It's okay.
Uh-oh.
I don't
change.
I don't think that should be a takeaway, but I think that's what we're looking towards here in this game number 3. And you know what? Okay, man, bro, they deserve our faith after last game. And oh my God, Karis getting the ban.
Azir too strong right now.
Now we do ban Tristana, right? With the Azir gone.
They didn't ban Sejuani, so
No, I know.
you.
No, it's fine. Faker will just jump into everything again. It's actually a really good idea. And T1 seems to agree with them, which is perhaps the most baffling thing out of all of this.
You know, the more you know, the more you can say you don't know.
It's like I said,
Right.
we don't actually know anything. Clearly, we have our priorities wrong. With T1 just prioritizing the Sejuani.
Well, it worked for Bro,
as
right?
Bro did.
So
Yeah, I just feel like the circumstances of the game do really matter on that one.
nah,
But we're back.
it's unimportant.
I do really like, though, and we're memeing a lot, and I think that's warranted. I do want to highlight, and I really appreciate, though, that Youngjae is going for Maokai here, not Nidalee, because given the priority, I think it's a good matchup into Sejuani. It's one of the best matchups, one of the reasons why she started coming up in the first place. And it is a matchup, or a champion that obviously at the moment is insanely strong. But I really do not want to see Youngjae playing Nidalee because of what Breon needs. I think Breon, in the last game, showed Youngjae. I think it's fair that he didn't get any votes, but I imagine he was second on most people's list. His ganks were great, he was very proactive, making a lot of moves around the map, secured a couple of key smites as well.
He didn't do as much boom boom damage as Sombra did, though, so
Yeah,
I think
guess.
Sombra was at least second for a couple of media members.
And also, to be fair, Sombra did actually play a clean game of League of Legends, so it's not as bad of a boom boom damage vote as some other ones I've seen. Morgan gets one of his comfort picks in the Jax. I do think Jax into Gnar is a matchup that can go very wrong very quickly if the Jax starts falling behind. If you stay even, obviously, eventually inside lane, you'll have enough ability haste to just stay on top of him and take him down. As the respect being paid here is really nice. I do think that Sejuani in particular is one of those picks where I know that realistically you don't need to play with melee characters, but it really feels so much better when she does. And Gnar obviously has, you know, Mega Gnar, but that's not really a great representation, as we do have the Ziggs. Man, actually really like that. Samver could have definitely gone towards that, like Ziggs Leona here.
Yeah.
They do have Maokai as well for extra setup. They already have double AD.
Ezreal is available, though. I feel like Leona, though, is being prioritized above Ezreal when it comes to that duo. They say, well, Leona can go with a lot of things. As Zyra Khan, this was a winning duo in the final game of EWC. Not necessarily because this duo is super strong, but we do have a lot of other bans towards AD carries and stuff that can go on the bot lane already in this game, so they just opt for that duo once again. As it could have been the Ezreal, but instead, it's just going to be Jhin.
I do kind of like the Jhin here. I think the Jhin works well with Maokai in particular. I think that's one of those 1-2s that can be quite impressive if you do get a decent amount of leads, the amount of traps, saplings you can place down. And realistically, Zyra Khan should lose lane as well against Jhin Leona. So if you have a losing bot lane, you get to snowball through that mid jungle as well. I actually really like the draft that Breon have here. Now, I do think the T1 comp is infinitely more stable. You have Rakan, you have Sejuani. The Xayah, though, I still am not super enthusiastic about. I think Xayah does kind of struggle into comps that outrange her, and Tristana obviously is naturally just going to outrange with drawing her beads, and then Jhin doesn't really have to walk into range with his ultimate and his W as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there is a decent shot for Bro to come in here and take it down. We did see that say that we liked the T1 draft in Game 2 as well. But I love that sign in the bottom left.
Yeah.
It's time to go to bed. Yeah, it is.
For T1, because Brianna's gonna beat them, right? Valdez?
I think it's just
right?
saying, like, I think they are sleepy and they might want to sleep. But they're not allowed to. They're here doing their job. They're pros.
Got to get another game in. And this draft, it's a lot of comfort for T1. I think it's the most cohesive, though. And maybe, imagine if Brian's first series win is an upset against T1.
Could happen right here, right now, as they force a game number 3 against T1 already. Can they take down the series is the main question. As it looks like we are ready, let's hop into the rift for game number 3.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
The Brion fans getting more feisty as the day gets along and as the games slowly but surely go in their favor.
I miss Feisty. Sad he
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
didn't make it to the
What are
upper
Loopy
deck.
and Gamin up to?
So, Gamin, I actually have no idea. Loopy was on DK, but he's now been replaced by Mr. 2K LP himself, Moham, who you might remember from playing for Kwangdong last split, together with Wayne. We don't know if he's related to Bruce, but we assume so.
I think he's related to... I think he named himself after Wayne Gretzky, actually. A big ice hockey fan, obviously. This Korean pro gamer.
What do you think is more likely, Valdez?
You know, I've heard before that Korean pro gamers sometimes just like to choose random names, right? Or like random words, English words, right? Because they have to have an English name as their ID. And some pros use their own name and they just Romanize it. Of course, that's acceptable. Think about Yahoo. But yeah. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if he just chose Wayne because he likes the way it sounded.
That's a good name. I don't mind it. As we do see Jin in some struggles here. A lot of those, though, were, you know, games where I'm like, that team has not got a whole lot of wins. So Karis is Tristanaing, as you do. So a lot of damage goes down onto Samper. Unfortunately, being Jin just has to reload his gun. Carrier sets up a nice pullback for Guma.
He's still fooling us all. He's just running around reloading.
Just doing nothing.
Like, we think he's actually doing damage, but that's false. You know, he's just running around in circles reloading.
I really don't mind Jin as much as I know some members of the LCK team do.
I wonder how Atlas feels after they won with Jin Bard.
Yeah,
Because
we've seen a lot of high stakes Jin games as well.
Yeah.
So Semper playing it, you know, Semper's
Nice
quite solid
here, but it does put Palu in an awkward spot. That is one place where, well, that's a nice little stun. He's going to push him into the turret, but actually Faker's in a lot of trouble. The solo kill again as Karis will go down and has to use his flash to do it, but he gets that extra 100 gold.
Ooh, I wonder if there was an opportunity there, maybe if, because I think he hesitated for a second there, where maybe he gets the reset and jumps out. I don't think that he does, though. I think the turret will always get him. Not that bad, though. The wave was also pushing back into him. As long as he doesn't get punished by Owner, who is sniffing around jungle. He's looking with the boar.
The boar is doing the sniffa emote right now.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
can see it. Look. It's happening. Now, Youngjae's going to find the boar and Sejuani. As, yeah, Owner's just 1v2 right now, and he's in a bit of trouble. They want to try to turn this nice knock-up, but Owner's just so low. The flash over the wall, the Q gets it done, as Owner does not respect the 2v1. And now Faker's in a lot of trouble himself. He has to flash, so there goes your flash advantage, as even now Karis' flash will come up first.
Valdez?
It's happening. All the believers will be rewarded
They have
for
been,
their belief, for their faith.
They have been waiting. It would, oh man, that would be something. If T1, who are currently obviously you know, sitting at 4-2. One of those losses against Genji. The other one against KT. If they lose against Brian as well, be very funny. So we take another look at this. Faker, unfortunately, like being a level down, I think, especially in the early levels, really matters. So even though he gets the setup and is able to knock Kara's back into the turret, this I don't know, Owner.
Yeah.
You're playing into Tristana.
So
like Tristana has a really, really easy time to get to you.
Yeah. For you guys who may not have noticed yet, Tristana does have a move called Rocket Jump, which allows her to go over terrain. So
yes,
when that happens, Karis is there as well as Youngjae making it a 2v1.
Nautilus also has a decent amount of, or Maokai rather has a decent amount of CC.
Yeah.
And, you know, his,
a little bit.
His W and his Q, so he can lock you up for a good amount of time.
Good damage. I mean, his base damage is quite good,
nice.
right? Especially into a Sejuani before she's built much tanky items.
Yep. Youngjae, as a result, picks up an early kill. Gets himself a Haunting Guy. He's going to be very happy with that. Now, this isn't like game number 2, I think, where Brion was able to get a pretty sizable lead and then just run with it. I need to keep the expectations realistic, okay? I think Brion have had a lot of issues with actually closing out games. Right now, though, things are looking okay. As long as we don't look towards top CS. That
doesn't matter.
Morgan,
it's not real.
Did pick that.
We do have a wall coming down here, but everybody gets over the wall. So T1 should be able to take both of
they're going
scrubs. Wait, they're okay.
Okay, they're not going back.
They did go back. Yes.
I really think they shouldn't have. So that's good that they don't. It's a bit worried for a second there because Morgan is not in a position to join. Even with Zeus not having Mega, I think you run a big risk if you just walk up there. See if they make a play towards the bottom half of the map. Kuma is looking like he is going to respect, as he should, but he does get the crash, so I don't think he's too bothered. Oh, very close. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the lore, Zeus' Gnar was the pick he debuted on, and it was... He was really, really good with this champion.
Yeah.
And I saw the Jax counter pick, and I'm like...
Nope.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
And now seeing it in play as well, I'm like, I still don't...
I don't know about that one.
I don't know about that one, yeah. Generally, with counter picks, you're not really looking to take a big hit. Because if the Jax is picked, like... Because the Jax was picked third, right? First rotation on blue side. So it feels like they didn't have to do that. Because if you deny, like, Jax Sejuani or something, I think it makes sense, but they didn't.
Yeah, no, they didn't. Nice buffer here from Karis. He's going to get out of dodge there. He's doing a very nice job. Tristana-ing. They did get the dragon, yeah. I think Bro are in a pretty good spot at this moment in time, especially with Karis pretty fed. The top lane, as we mentioned before, doesn't exist. It's not real,
God.
so we don't think about that
No, but
when we factor this in.
Zeus just pulled the wave, and there's no jungler. Well, Youngjae eventually will get there, but he also has always camps up. So I think Morgan is just... Oh, no, Jonas Strong! Hand away!
Yeah, it's real whenever Jonas Strong decides it's real, so now we can take a look. Especially with Mega Gnar timing here, it's just perfect from Zeus. And
yeah, this is a nightmare. This is a truly abhorrent wave state here for Morgan. Really good job by Zeus. And like, how are you going to fix this? As if Jaliyah doesn't show, even without the ultimate, she can roam very quickly. I'm going to catch the wave of mid now, so this should give him the opportunity to roam towards top and maybe break the freeze, but there's a lot of vision as well. So someone needs to go and help more. He's been sitting at like 55 CS for like a minute and a half.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Bro have also decided that top lane is not real. And
but it is!
Yeah, Morgan's dead. He does have flash, so maybe he can flash out of this one, but the hop has larger range, and there's the counter-strike flash on in from Owner, and the boomerang gets the job done. So the inevitable punish that we were talking about, that you called Chronicler, does come through on top of the CS that was denied.
And he has no TP.
He's so far behind.
So they had to just go up. I know that you might have to drop a wave in mid, But this is really, really bad. Because as mentioned earlier, I think this is a very volatile matchup, where if you do get Morgan ahead, like he can start running down the Gnar, and obviously Jax does have a lot of 1v1 potential. But like once you start losing against a ranged top, that's already bad. Losing against Zeus is like... I know Zeus has really embraced his flippy nature of, you know, like I'm playing the ranged top laners and I'm going in aggressively, and sometimes it looks really goofy. But I do also really think he's one of the best, like, punishing players that we have in the LCK. I think when it comes to things like teamfight, Keen definitely isn't beat at the moment, but...
I don't think Morgan can do this either.
No,
like, even though his lane state
not.
is really destroyed, like, he can't be killing a control ward.
I agree.
Zero vision, like, Owner could easily be there.
And he uses his flash as well. It's a disaster, Valdez. And now you have a Gnar who is going to make that lane even worse. Like, he's going to hit Triforce first because he's up 1k gold. And then Morgan is just going to have to sit there and eat waves. And this Jax is not going to be relevant for another, like, 25 minutes unless he picks up a bunch of random kills across the map. Like, even with bone plating, like, look at that trade. That wasn't even a trade. Let's just say he's standing there and be like,
yeah,
whatever.
He doesn't have a completed damage component yet. He does have one sword, so that's better than nothing, I guess. Looks like T1 are going to take down 5 grubs, unless Karis and Palu can say something about it. Here they come, but the Mega Gnar timing is also going to go down, but now the engage comes in from Keria. Here's another wall, and Palu is in a lot of trouble as he has to flash away, but the knockup is going to catch Karis at midair. The turn, trying to come out, though. Karis pushing forward, jumping into everybody. He does get the kill, and he jumps away. Karis able to make it happen. Only Palu has gone down. As now Morgan trying to be relevant, and I think, unfortunately, the timer has run out on this fight as Zeus is going to come in, and there's the knockup from Keria as well. And the Gnar is too strong. It was looking so good, but eventually the fight went too long, and Zeus just popped off.
Oh, that's so rough there for Brian. It looked attainable. Wasn't the case. In the end, Zeus just gets even further ahead. Morgan doesn't even get a kill. Doesn't even get gold for his troubles.
And they still get all the grubs.
T1, earlier on the rotation there, I think crucial as well. Karis doesn't actually get the kill because he jumps into the Rakan charm. So he doesn't actually get the final out off until much later. So them trying to go for this fight, even though they're member down, Karis actually plays this really well, right? They get the jump, but then look here. He jumps on top, and I think that extra amount of time, you know, Keria is able to just make his way out. And then here, Morgan, Owner just dragging him away for a little bit. Counter-Strike doesn't mean anything. And we see T1. Zeus now even further ahead. He's Triforce, he's 3-0, he's up 40 CS. This Gnar is a real raid boss. We'll see if Brilliant can at the very least get a second dragon. It would be big.
Uh-oh. No, the smite is good. It's early from Owner. And Young Jay keeps his cool, is able to hold on to it. We got Ocean Soul in this game.
Ooh, okay. That'll help Morgan if they get it.
I don't think anything's helping Morgan in this game.
Well, I'm talking in like 25 minutes when he has items. You know?
All right.
This was a counter.
We'll check in 38 minutes into the game.
Fel, this was a counter pick. I know it's hard to get counters to Gnar, but especially Zeus' Gnar, but this definitely wasn't it. I think Morgan's dead again.
Well, the Boomerang's gonna miss, so
yeah.
He stays alive for now.
Maybe Faker could. Yeah, well, does he really? I know he's in, you know, his screen is in gray, but
yeah.
We gotta talk about other stuff. I'm getting bummed out. This every top laner knows this feeling.
Well, we have a cleanse flash from Samber, so he does get away as Keria was just very menacingly sprinting at him with the quickness. And, well, at least Morgan's going to farm here. But not over there to the left. That's Zeus territory. Everything outside of the turret. Actually, even next to the turret, I'm a little bit not 100% sure about. And it's going to be Morgan going bot here to go up against Guma for now, as the rest of the team is going to commit to the Rift Herald. You just had your top laner TP out of this one. And Zeus has his TP, so...
Yeah, there he comes.
Now Guma is in here, and the turn is coming in, but the Rakan play is fantastic. Is it enough to save Owner? As, that blast code not going to help him actually as Karis, he is on something today, and the shots from the Jhin are so big from Samber. As now we do have Zeus, he is isolated, and they get the shutdown onto Morgan as well. Bro are coming back, they call the bluff of T1.
That's a game-saving fight, Valdez, because you get the shutdown onto Morgan of all people, and the call from Breon is actually really good because if T1 actually has Zeus there for the entirety of that fight, you're never ever winning it. But what happens is they pull the trigger, they go for the engage. T1 isn't ready. They get blown up before they can actually have their members' advantage. And now, okay, they still don't look at top, but the rest of the map all of a sudden in much better shape.
Wait, he's 2,700 gold behind still. He got the shutdown. Owner goes in,
we're not focusing on this.
Checks it again, and the second check is the issue here.
It really is. And I actually think this could have gone worse. If Youngjae ults earlier there, I'm pretty sure Keria also ends up dying.
Yeah.
So like this is, I think, a relatively okay scenario. And then, yeah, you know, by the time Gluma shows up, the fight's already lost. Morgan just walks up to his tormentor, takes him down. So that's nice at least. Again, that part isn't going to change too much, but Samver, you know, getting some gold into him is big. Karis also, again, I know his KDA won't be too impressive, but still having a big performance here in this game. Breon, they're down 3k gold. If they can get one more of those fights, though, it might be looking a little bit better, but yeah, I think they have to give this up. With the members' advantage there, we do see Samver is on his way. He doesn't have the ultimate just yet, and he can't walk for this jungle. This is T1 territory.
Well, it's going to be Guma getting engaged on as Palu wants to deny the T1 territory, as now we got TPs coming in here. Guma in a lot of trouble. He's not able to Featherstorm until the very last moment, but the pullback is huge. It doesn't matter. Karis is on the hunt once again, charging into multiple members as down will go Faker.
They're doing it!
And Morgan, he's got another counter-strike. He's going to live, bro. They're winning another fight, down 3k, as the hit here from Youngjae is huge. He stays alive, but the Meganar not gonna be enough. Karis is just going off in this one. Karis and Samver, they sub in for game number 2. They shut it down in game number 3 as well, and bro, they're still behind, but they're coming back.
That's an ace! Where were you when Breon aced T1? Oh, it starts off here with Guma getting caught, but it's fine. It's Xayah. You're not scared of this. But then again, this aggression of T1, sometimes it backfires, and here it really does. The combination of CC there, Flash Q, Counter-Strike, yeah, Guma ends up living, but there's so much mobility here. And then look at how many autos Karis gets to have in this fight. And then Samver, this is where you want to be as a Jhin. You don't want to be the main carry. You want to sit there, take pot shots on the edge of the fight. And T1, again, look disjointed. Zeus with the flash, like, yeah, he kills the Maokai, but that's all that they're getting. As Feldos highlighted, still behind in gold. I think maybe once this mid lane turret falls, it'll be relatively even. But if they can get the Ocean's Soul Point on this next play, ultimates are going to be up. It'll be really, really big.
Absolutely.
It's still 2k gold down.
I mean, they've won 2 fights. One was down 5k, the other one was down 2k, essentially.
Yeah, you're right, Valdez.
3k. And, you know, T1 still haven't fought on their terms yet. So let's see how this one looks as the ult goes straight into Youngjae. That's not going to be good. A lot of damage being thrown into Palu. Those are not the right targets for T1, but Palu eventually does get low. The steal on the Dragon as well. And Youngjae is low himself. A lot of low health bars here on the side of T1. Faker going to be isolated. And now a forced Featherstorm as well from Samver onto Guma. As meanwhile, Youngjae trying to go 1v2 against Keria and Zeus, not really working out, but Karis once again unchecked, and the frontliner that is Morgan is huge as another hop comes in. Karis looking to take down Guma and Owner, not going to be able to, but does push them away.
Oh, and the gold lead remains about the same, even though the kill trade favorable for Breon. They are going to get this mid lane turret now, finally. And the bros are doing it. Look at the fans.
The bro leavers.
They never gave up, Valdez. As of right now, they've won 4 games this split. 4! And these team fights are games. Just want to really, really clarify that. So here we get an isolation, or rather we had Palu and Keria in isolation. For Keria, though, it's a lot easier to get back and they do end up killing Palu. The big thing, though, is that against Jin in particular, actually exiting gracefully is insanely hard. And Morgan, as you highlighted, actually does such a good job. The fourth shot means that Guma has to ult defensively. I do think Brion kind of lost track of the fight happening. We have Karis like, could have probably jumped towards Youngjae earlier so that they could get more out of that. But crucially, Morgan still cuts off the escape, and they still get more gold onto those carries. Morgan, somehow in this game, is relevant. He's just making it happen.
He's got
in
a
the
bounty.
fights. He's got a bounty.
The Lord himself.
And I also think it's really important to note that, yes, we know T1 still has a slight gold lead. And much does it matter? I think the T1 composition scales really well, so I don't think they're too worried. When you look at this in isolation, right, between Xayah, between Gnar, but how does this game feel? If you're T1?
It feels like a Tristana playground right now. Like, they're using everything into Leona, into Maokai, and then Karis is jumping from person to person and getting a million assists. Like, he's not getting kills, which is kind of funny, but he's just unchecked. And Samver, there's no engage on him either, as now maybe an opportunity here for T1 as Palu a bit out of position. Youngjae being chased as well, as Palu might just have to be left here as a sacrifice. The wall does come down, and Palu not even going to flash. So down goes the bro supports. As T1 now, they're not going to be asking twice. They're just going to go for the Baron.
Yeah, big thing here is that they also used a lot of cooldowns. Samver does have his ultimate. I think that Jin ult is going to be big.
Oh, the flash on in. They want to isolate. Zayu says the Steric shield is massive, though, and now a huge Gnar ult is going to win this one for T1. You would imagine Morgan being chased down, and he will eventually go down as well. Samver still firing shots. Owner trying to block here. Faker still going to eat a bunch of damage. A lot of poke did go down onto T1. Even the sapling, you talked about this actually in the draft as well. That's not going to hit Youngjae, but Samver looks like he will be isolated and killed. So it does work out in the end for T1. And now they're going to start the back.
And T1, they take a beating, but they still come out on top. Sayers can be back in 10 seconds as well, as can Karis. Youngjae, crucially, he doesn't have an easy way in, doesn't have his flash available. I don't know if he can get the W off. I think they should be able to zone him away. The health bars are low, but I don't think it's going to matter. And T1 get the Baron. That should be enough to regain control of this game.
Yeah, you would imagine. I mean, finally T1 find an answer in a team fight as something was flying across the map there. I don't know what that was. So this is what happens, bro. They're invading. They say, hey, we have a disengage cone, we should be fine. Baited by disengage cone, not the first time. Palu is going to get isolated and taken down. And then the fight goes very wonky, but this one looks very different from all the other fights where Karis doesn't get any CC on him and he's just jumping around. Speaking of which, in live, we have him being bullied and down he will go. So T1, they find him, they save their CC for him, and Owner will make it happen.
The Magic Might have passed. Brion going to try and look for something here. No ult on Samver, though. So Youngjae just going for an ult to try and keep this mid lane turret alive for a little bit longer. If on the next wave, it is still going to drop. T1, all they needed was that one fight. Ends up being absolutely huge. One overstep. Crucially there as well as Faker actually a lot earlier on the TP. I think if they were able to anticipate that, play a little bit safer, they might have been fine, especially with how good the disengage on Maokai ult is, but it just wasn't there for Brion. And now kill score, that one's even. Everything else though looking like T1 back in the driver's seat. So we take another look here. The attempt, they do spot out, crucially carry, like if they actually get the kill on Zeus, that fight's win. I actually really like the call from Brion there. I think that's the only way that you get out of that.
It's close.
It was. If he wasn't as fed as he was, that could have been huge.
He wouldn't have the Sterics, he wouldn't live. And this is what happened afterwards. This is how Karis got caught. Just trying to trade with Zeus and a nice flash, but then eventually, you know, the rest of the squad rolls up.
Yeah, nice ult from Zeus there. It's a messy game, Valdez. That can't be denied. But it does feel like Brion's moment, unless they can get another insane team fight, might have passed. And now we see Morgan, right? Even with him becoming a little bit more relevant, still a full item behind. Renwin's done for Zeus here.
Yeah, and the Randuins is just massive. I mean, you look at the composition of Bro.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you mentioned it, Chronicler, if we talked about it much, but the damage profile, it's just very heavy AD, especially when you have the Jax, which is a heavy auto attacker. It just feels like, you know, armor in general, but also the Randuins against the 280 carries that are going to build crit. It's going to just feel amazing. And they've got Maokai for AP, which I know you hate.
I mean,
a little bit of Jax as well, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Jax can go Zonya's 4, but like that doesn't really do it. Yeah, that's not enough.
So Zeus is just unkillable, is the point. As now we do have this Maokai ultimate to be thrown in, and it doesn't do much. Not going to push them off of the inhibitor either, and they just get the inhibitor and get out.
Samver really needs LDR. We see Kars does have it done now, so that's going to help at least a little bit. Yeah, the expectation is T1 is just going to continue building full armor. We see Owner as well, Bramble Vest in his inventory already. Imagine he wants to look towards a Thornmail.
This is a very interesting fight as the Solar Flare goes very wide, and Morgan's dead, and so is Palu.
I guess that's just it.
Just not expecting
that
them
can't
to
be
stay.
how it ends.
Just not expecting them to stay, and they're like, hey, maybe they're here. Oh, we're dead. T1's wallets are very large at this point in time. As here comes the quickness. Karis will be caught this time around as the follow-up comes in, and Karis does hop away, but Owner also very tanky, and again, Zeus is unkillable. It looks like T1, they've had their fun tonight, but at the end of the day, they will just pick up the clean 2-1, nothing to see here, up against Bro. Eventually, maybe not right now, but looks like we're heading in that direction, guys.
Really does. Mid lane Inhib goes down as well. T1 can just go back, set up an objective. These shots, I don't think we're gonna let Faker get hit. I think the reinforcements were very ready for that one. Even if he does, shouldn't go down off of just one shot. For Breon, from here on out, it's looking really rough. That mid lane Inhib by itself, I don't think the end of there will. But as you were saying, I think they were looking for some extra kills here. T1, like everyone is there though, so it doesn't really do a whole lot. Morgan gets CC'd. Faker like simultaneously kills Morgan while also locking off the rest of Breon, so they don't get to join. Faker almost ends up going down, but it doesn't really matter. Crucially, Karis does get hit by the E, which makes life very easy for Zeus as he walks in with his Gnar. And I think we're seeing some of the glimpses as to why this guy was known for Gnar initially, even though it's not by any means a clean game. Really, I think the only one playing a clean game on T1 is just Guma.
Yeah.
He's just been good. You know?
He's had a very...
Yeah, and even he had the I'm going in the enemy blue jungle to try and kill a Leona. That was a moment.
Nobody is...
Nobody comes out unscathed.
Yeah, exactly. As now we're looking for the Gnar here once again, but Young Jay just unfortunately not that tanky. He's only got Warmogs and Eleandries. There's a lot of damage just coming out actually from the 80 carries of Bro, but I feel like the wallets are just too heavy as now Faker gets into that backline and Karis eventually will be taken down by the Gnar. And here comes Zeus bouncing over that wall. The knockup will miss, but yeah, I'm just gonna throw an ult into the winds. Why not? That's what I would do.
It's a revitalized Breon, but it just isn't enough. T1, in the end, rely on their team fighting. Faker might die. I don't think it matters.
He's baiting them in. Samver just going to open up the curtains and immediately gets flashed on by Zeus. He's like, how dare you open the curtains against us? And it's not going to happen. We'll keep that room in darkness for now. Down will go the Nexus, and T1, they get it done. It wasn't easy. It wasn't clean, but they will win the series up against Bro tonight.
A win's a win, Valdez. In a couple of weeks, people aren't going to remember that it was messy, that T1 did not play their best game here. All that matters is you got the win. If they actually lost against Breon, obviously, considering the circumstances, it would mostly just be funny. I don't think it'd be detrimental to the team. But none of that here today. The only one that looks happy is Zeus because he got to play Gnar, and I think this is the type of game where as Gnar you feel great. You won your lane. You know, your team fighting, it was messy, but you got the job done. And T1 take the win over Brion. Much more messy than was expected, but enough nonetheless.
Enough nonetheless. A clean 2-1, nothing to see here.
Yeah, no big ceremonies from T1 this time around. And they look happy, and I think Brion should be very happy with what they did here today. This was better than anything we've seen out of them the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there were certainly some mistakes made by T1 that allowed members of Road to like have big pop-off moments, but the pop-off moments, they still need to come from the player themselves. I think that Gary looks like he's about to fall asleep here. I'm sure he'll get some rest tonight, don't you worry. But you know, Karis having a big game, Samver having a big couple of games. These guys, you know, that could be the building blocks for Bro in the future. Not sure about this season, starting off 0-7, but I mean, at least, you know, we get Karis a little bit back in form. Samver's looking better and better every time we see him. It's nice to see. It's good stuff from the side of Bro. But eventually, T1, the favorites in this one, do take it down. Not without their hiccups. It's owner. A little bit of a roughie here, but somebody had to check, I guess.
Yeah, I'm still impressed by Samver. Like, as this game comes to a close, as this series comes to a close, I still think he can be very happy about his performance. And the Karis performance here today, after getting subbed in and Full Day really struggling, actually ends up being absolutely huge. I also do think that we saw Faker, particularly in Game 2, take some liberties with how the map was played, as I think the space highlighted very well. In the end, T1 could rely on their team fighting. I think also, especially looking back at these replays, one of the people we didn't really talk about nearly as much, and he did look like he was about to snooze, but I think Carry actually having a lot of impact in these fights, creating a lot of space, making sure that the rest of the team didn't really get walked over the way that I think it felt like at times might have happened here. Able to get a lot going on this Rakan, which isn't the pick we see nearly as much anymore, given the other, you know, tank supports and engage supports being a lot more prevalent.
Yeah, it's nice to see Braum back in the meta.
I agree. Yeah, whenever everyone's blind picking Leona and Nautilus,
and 380 carries sometimes.
Yeah,
feels pretty good. Look at carries. He's making calls for the timers while he's like falling asleep in his chair. Oh man.
How are you doing, Valdez?
I'm fine. The vibes are carrying me. This is great. I'm having a great time today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
The games have been great. Cassin with the Chronicler man has been great. And for T1, you know, a lot of tired faces, but it's a win at the end of the day. And Zeus gets the most damage by far on his Gnar.
It is very fitting that after they lose to KT, T1 pull a classic, clean 2-1, nothing to see here. It's very, I like the, you know, the story cohesion on that one, Valdez.
Bro show that they can take a game up against a tired T1. They show the potential, right? We'll have to wait and see if they can get anything done in the rest of the split. But guys, we're done on the cast for now. Let's throw it over to the space to break down the series.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POG interview translation, joined by Faker and Zeus on the side of T1, who just scored a 2-1 against OK Savings Bank Brion. Congratulations! Thank you. Zeus, after winning the Esports World Cup Championship in Saudi Arabia, you secured a match win today. How do you feel? After winning the title, hasn't been a while, and we have our spirits up right now, and I think we do believe that today was a really good place. Although the jet lag was quite rough on us, I'm just really glad that we were able to secure today's victory. And Faker, I have never played a match right after landing, so it wasn't a very satisfactory game. And in game 2, yeah, we were looking very, very shaky, and we had a pretty funny instance, but I hope that in the next match we can come back even stronger and more solid.
제우스 선수 14.13 패치를 미리
Zeus,
보기도 했었고요.
since you got to play in the patch 14.13 ahead of time and played on LAN against the other regions, what was the key factor of today's match?
감상으로는 사실 요새 탑이 좀 든든한
So
쪽으로
just from
많이
being
치우쳐지지
able to play
않았나 그런 느낌을 좀 받았던 것 같고
ahead of
오늘
time, I
경기에서도
feel like top has a lot of
그렇게
leverage
하려고 많이 노력했던 것
and
같아요.
impact in the
네,
game.
미리 이렇게 또
And I just try to make sure that I am able to sort of contribute a lot to the match.
요즘 제일 핫한
And Faker, you pulled an amazing Tristana gameplay. And Tristana Corki matchup is a pretty hot matchup lately. And as a veteran who has experience in this matchup, what's the core of this matchup?
선수들이
Yeah, it's a pretty common matchup. And I'm sure that a lot of players, they have their each and own proficiency. And everyone has their own style of playing this matchup. And I think what really matters is their experience and proficiency on the champions. And Faker in game 1, with a huge gap, you closed out the game convincingly. And even after giving 4 Drakes away, you ended the game with just 1 Baron fight. So what were your thoughts on the objectives? The very early game in game 1, rather than playing around the objectives, I think we just tried to snowball off of team fights. And I think game 1 really went the way we wanted, which was great. And with your POG today, Faker, you have reached 400 POG points. And it looks like the Royal Mid has infiltrated a pack of junglers in the standings. So what are your thoughts? Mid is not considered royalty anymore. I feel like royalty is really just junglers, and being able to be a part of the pack is such an honor. And Zeus. So it looks like not a single top laner is in the top of the POG standings. So what are your thoughts? I feel like in order for a top laner to get POG, you need to fulfill a lot of conditions. But with the meta shifting towards the top being able to sort of tank everything and be the wall of the team, I think I'm just really thankful. Thank you, guys. And without knowing the enemy top pick, T1 blind picked Gnar after the Sejuani and Talia comp. So what compositional synergy were you looking for? Since we had a Talia, I think we were able to go for a pick that can really pressure side lanes. And I don't think Gnar is a really a champion that actually gets countered or anything, so I think that's why I went for that pick. And Zeus, you created a big gap and led the team to victory in the Jax versus Gnar matchup. And even with a fed Gnar, the enemy Tristana remained as a big threat, so what was the game plan? I feel like the pick itself actually really depends on how the team is doing. And since the Tristana got a lot of kills, I think, given that I was pretty confident with the 1v1, I tried to pressure the side lane as much as possible. And now your next opponent will be Hana Life Esports. What are your resolutions? Faker? Hana Life Esports match will be very important to us. And since we have about 2 days of time to practice, we'll make sure that we can bring us a satisfactory match. And Zeus, Hana Life Esports is a strong team. And their top laner, Dundun, is quite strong and they're reliable, so I want to be as reliable as him. And that's the end of the interview from Faker and Zeus from T1, and back to the space. Thank you.